Yes, ready. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the fourth edition of Dream, Dare, Do, Vidya's webinar series on discovery, innovation, and entrepreneurship. At Vidya, we believe that celebration education must go beyond textbooks. Our children need opportunities to interact with people who have had dare to dream, taken risk, overcome challenges, and created impact. Through this series, we hope to nurture curiosity, confidence, creativity, and the courage to think differently. We are delighted to have with us today Dr. Rudra Pratap, founding Vice Chancellor of Plaksha University. His remarkable journey from IIT Kharagpur to Cornell University, from pioneering research at IISc Bengaluru to building one of India's most innovative universities, reflects a lifelong commitment to learning, innovation, and nation building. Over nearly 25 years at IISc, he established India's first research laboratory in micro and nano electromechanical systems and went on to found the Center for Nano Science and Engineering, CENSE, now one of the country's leading nanotechnology research centers. He later served as Deputy Director of IISc. In 2021, Dr. Pratap took on the challenge of building a new age university from ground up. As the founding Vice Chancellor of Plaksha University, he has been instrumental in reimagining technology education for the 21st century. A fellow of two national academies, he has authored nearly 250 research papers, holds 17 patents, and has inspired generations of students and researchers. What makes today's session particularly special for Vidya family is that Dr. Pratap will be in conversation with Vishal Paudel, a proud Vidya alumnus and Plaksha graduate who is now working in the field of artificial intelligence at Fractal. It is truly inspiring to see one of our own engaging with visionary leader of the institution that helped shape his journey. I hope today's conversation encourages our students and you to dream boldly, embrace challenges, believe in the possibilities that lie ahead. A very warm welcome to Dr. Rudra Pratap and over to Vishal to begin the conversation.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, Professor.
Good afternoon, Vishal. And
And
thank you, ma'am, for very kind introduction.
My pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure.
good afternoon to every Vidya student out there. Can everybody wave their hands? Hello. Very nice.
Can they hear you?
Everybody
Yeah,
wave, say hello.
Now
Awesome.
yes, good, good.
So, Professor, let's begin. Dream, dare, do is the topic of our conversation today.
Yes.
Let's begin with talking about when you were 18, what dreams did you have?
Okay. So 18 years is high school. That's what you were talking about, or transition to from high school to college, right? Um, so as far as I can remember, at that point, all I wanted to do was be a scientist. Okay, I was very, very interested in physics. Physics was my love at that point. I was just thinking about physics, nothing else, right? To me, I was pretty good at math, but math was just for doing physics to me. That's it. I wanted to know enough math so that I could do physics. So when I was in 12th grade, Okay. In those days, it was called Intermediate of Science. And I did that, 11th and 12th from Science College, Patna. Okay. It's a college in Patna. That's where I went. And they had some really good, inspiring physics professors. So, I got so inspired by their teaching that nothing else, I was thinking about. I wasn't thinking about engineering at all, nothing. I just wanted to go and do BSc, MSc in physics and be a physicist. So that was in my mind at that point.
Professor, if you could inspire the love of physics in a sentence or two in our students, what would you say?
Well, anything you see around you, right? How does the world hold together, right? How does my hand move? How do I move? How do I walk? How do I do anything, right? And how does the sun come out every day at the time it does? How does the moon come out? How does the earth rotate? Anything you think of, it's all physics, right? So, what governs the world around us, these physical laws that exist, that human beings have been able to discover and find that, okay, behind whatever you see, there are actually systematic laws that govern what is happening. That is absolutely fascinating, right? So it doesn't matter whether you look at interaction of physical objects or interaction of celestial objects or interaction of materials. All of that is governed by physics, right? So a natural curiosity of a child will take you there, that hey, how do I make sense of this or that? It's all there in physics.
How many of our students like physics? Raise your hands. Physics, mathematics. How many of us like mathematics? I see a
very,
hand.
very few hands going up for math, I see.
Okay, how many of us like English? Raise our hands. Both hands. Okay, awesome.
There you go.
Professor, I remember one of my happiest day in my life was during one of your lectures of
Okay.
physics. It was about double pendulums, and at that point of time, I thought that we could simulate everything and basically everything in the universe with physics, with deterministic laws. And that day was a revelation for me. I was a huge physics lover, reader, going beyond textbooks, beyond syllabus. And so I used to believe that everything could be simulated with physics. And fortunately or unfortunately, from that day onwards, I started to look at physics differently and maybe even more enthusiastically. So, dreams. So, Professor, let's go to the next question, which is, once you knew that you had a dream that you wanted to pursue physics, what were the obstacles, if there were any, that came into your way, and how did you overcome them?
So, to pursue physics, actually, there wasn't any obstacle per se, but you are looking for good places to go to study with good people, be taught by great professors. That's what you're looking for, right? When you are aspiring to study physics. So, one of my professors, in 11th and 12th, in those days, as I told you, that it was called Intermediate of Science. And that meant that you were in a college environment, not in a school environment. Today, 11th and 12th is pinnacle of high school, right? You are in high school, and 11th and 12th, you are still in high school. So senior teachers from school teach you. In those days, 11th and 12th was with university, with college, and you were at the bottom. You, you were the youngest people in the college. So we were taught by professors. So one professor, MMR Akhtar, Professor MMR Akhtar, he was really, really good at physics. He he knew about my love for physics, because I used to usually hang around after the class to ask him some questions. Okay. Um, so he advised me that, hey, if you really want to do physics, it's not necessary that you have to take physics. You can even take engineering, and it's all physics anyway. Okay. But go to a good place, go to an IIT. Okay. And at that point, I didn't know anything about IITs. I had no clue. I was thinking about continuing in the same college. So then I found out what this institution is, and I said, why would I go to IIT if I can study here? What do I need to do that? I'm not interested. So he challenged me. Okay. He knew that I wasn't going to fill up the form for IIT entrance or anything unless he somehow provoked me. So he told me that, hey, look, you think that you are pretty good at physics, right? That's what you think. But you have not never taken any national level exam. I think all the students sitting here, they understand Hindi, right? Huh?
Yes.
Okay. So these were his words. He said कि अपने आप को तो बहुत उस्ताद समझते हो ना फिजिक्स का, एक बार कोई नेशनल लेवल का एग्जाम लेके तो देखो, तो पता चलेगा कि कितने पानी में हो. Okay. So that got me, that, you are challenging me? I said, okay, I'll take it. What is it? He said, this is IIT entrance test, is a national level exam. Why don't you try this? That was his way of getting me to write JEE. Okay. So I wrote JEE, and the only subject I knew was basically physics. Okay. And math, because, you had to know math to do physics. But I hadn't done any coaching, nothing. Right. Um, and then, on the basis of physics and how well I scored in physics, I got through. I thought in every other subject I probably flunked or whatever, right? But I got through. So that's how I got to a place which gave me a different platform. I went to IIT, and then it gave me a different platform. For the first time in my life, I saw students from all over the country, you know, things that you had only read in textbooks, that this state, that state, you meet people, you meet students from those states, you see that culture that you had only studied in textbooks. That was fascinating. And then, everything was so different. Semester system, in the exams, first exam I remember of IIT, and I was still wondering what's going on. First time I had a question paper in which there was no option that, usually have do 5 questions out of 7 or out of 8, right? Or solve this or this question. There was no such luck. There were 5 questions and you had to solve all the 5. That's it, right? You have no option, nothing. So that was completely new to me, fascinating. So that's how, I started growing up in my thinking
Hmm.
that, hey, there are completely different kinds of systems, places, and got exposed to faculty members who had come from all over the world. They had studied in lots of really good places. So that helped me grow up.
Fascinating, Professor. So we understand now that um, obstacles may not always be external, may also be internal, right?
Absolutely.
Moving on, Professor, every child here has all at least once in their lives heard कि इसको मत छुओ, उसको मत तंग करो, उसको मत छेड़ो, टूट जाएगा, बिखर जाएगा. But that instinct to take things apart is essential to achieve dreams, right? So, in essence, to take things apart is to not settle. The instinct to take things apart is the virtue to dare to do. So, Professor, for a young person watching today, आज जो जितने भी बच्चे हमारे देख रहे हैं विद्या के, जिनकी जिनकी जिज्ञासाओं को, जिनके सवालों को हमने थाम के रखा है किसी न किसी तरीके से, what would you say to those students so that they break out of those boundaries and fulfill their curiosities?
Curiosity is the essence of life. It's the curiosity, it's how curious you are, more or less dictates how far you get in life, in my mind. Okay. I still remember that when I first interviewed you, Vishal, in your first year for scholarship, you had my vote simply because the kind of curiosity you exhibited when you told me that you saw a rabbit hole in your backyard and you went inside the hole to figure out where it is going, right? I loved that example, that here is a kid who is so curious and fearless that wants to explore whatever he finds as something that intrigues him, right? I think it's this intrigue that we all have, which sometimes gets discouraged by the surrounding around us, as you were saying, right? That people say, don't touch this, or don't break this, or don't take this apart. Ye toot jayega, foot jayega. It's not necessary that you have to break things. It's not necessary, right? But it's just to know, right? There is a plant right in front of your house which is growing, or inside your house, tulsi plant is growing. At what rate does it grow? Does it grow every day? How much does it grow every day? Right? If I give water, does it grow even more? If I only give water, does it grow? Or, does it need something more? How do leaves come out? Just think about it, that it's coming out, a plant is coming out of soil. It's all its food, everything is coming from that soil, right? The tree or the plant doesn't look anything like the soil. Nothing, right? The soil looks very different. It's made of that, very well, carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, those are the elements it's made of. But look at this, the manufacturing plant of that plant is right there in the seed. It's taking all the supplies, all the raw material from around it, and it's converting it into something so beautiful. How is that happening? We as human beings don't have that kind of intelligence to have a manufacturing plant put in a seed that takes raw material just from its surroundings and converts that raw material into something as beautiful as a plant or a flower, which doesn't resemble anything like its raw material. How does that happen? Right? This is awe at nature. How does nature do it, right? So, for curiosity, you don't have to go anywhere else. It's all around you. And it's this kind of curiosity that gets you to be a plant biologist, that gets you to be a genetic engineer, that gets you to be a physicist, a production engineer, whatever, right?
Hmm.
So I think that this kind of inquisitive mind, or just curiosity to know your surroundings, to know things that you don't know, goes a long way in making you whatever you become in your life.
Yes. It's always fascinating when we look at plants. If we take a moment to think about it, कि पूरे धरती के सतह पे मिट्टी है और पत्थर है, पर उसमें से भी पेड़ निकल आते हैं, बड़े
Right.
बड़े जंगल उग जाते हैं। हाँ, और सिर्फ मिट्टी और पत्थर है और सदियों से पेड़ लगे हुए हैं चारों तरफ धरती की सतह पे। ये क्यूरियोसिटी आती है, एक बार मेरे को भी आई 7th क्लास में। मैं क्लास के बाहर बैठा, पौधों को देख रहा था, पर घंटी बज गई और अगले क्लास में जाना पड़ा। और फिर अगले दिन मैं आया, उस पौधे को देखा, मैंने सोचा कि कल तो देखा तो था, अब उसमें और क्या मैं सोचूं, तो फिर मैं आगे निकल गया। तो मेनी ए टाइम्स व्हाट हैपेंस प्रोफेसर इज एग्जैक्टली दिस, जो घंटी बजती है और वो हमारा ध्यान वहां से हट जाता है।
Right.
तो in this a special thing is summer camps, right, where you take वो सारी घंटियां हटा देते हो, you get rid of all of those घंटीज, and for a month you look at a specific thing or a bunch of things, right? And professor, about our innovation discovery hub, it's basically a summer camp but blown out to be a whole building, right, where our students could go and do internships, or even we can have periods and classes that can happen with the companies or startups that are getting incubated there, which is right next to our school building. So summer camps throughout school life, that sounds good. Professor, moving on. Sir, a few years ago, I not very long ago, सभी बच्चे सुन रहे हैं, ध्यान दें, कुछ साल पहले मैं भी विद्या का ही छात्र था और मैं विद्या में ही पढ़ करके बड़ा हुआ। नर्सरी से मैंने विद्या ज्वाइन किया और 12वीं तक मैंने विद्या में पढ़ाई की। टुडे आई एम वर्किंग एट फ्रैक्टल, earning my own money, building my own skills, working on AI, right? Bharati scholarship from Bharati Foundation was the boat. I got a scholarship मेरे को मिला पढ़ाई करने के लिए कॉलेज में, वो नाव थी मेरे लिए नदी पार करने के लिए, बड़ी नदी। और जो चप्पू था वो मेरा कॉलेज प्लक्षा यूनिवर्सिटी, चप्पू को पकड़ के वो नाव में बैठ करके मैंने नदी पार किया और विद्या से जॉब तक का सफर मैंने इस तरीके से तय किया। तो व्हाट आई वांट टू आस्क इज प्रोफेसर, when you first imagined Plaksha, right, did you through the partnerships with Bharati or with the partnerships with other scholarship giving entities, did you ever imagine that a student, right, from the very underprivileged sections of the society could come and get transformed and get a livelihood and get a job? Or did that get incorporated in the vision of Plaksha later on?
Okay, so Plaksha's education and journey is not just about providing livelihood. You have gotten your first job, uh, and I have always delighted that Vishal is working for Fractal, a new age company which has huge ambitions of its own. The company has ambitions, and you will be part of that ambition. You will be leading that ambition very soon. What we thought at Plaksha is that anybody, any kid in the whole country, and someday it will be in the whole world, anywhere in our country, a kid who is dreaming about something, that this is what I would like to achieve in life, or this is what I would like to be, or this is how I would like to lead this society or change this country, this is what I would like to do, doesn't have the means to do that, right? There are two things. You need education. Dream, dare, do. Dream is easy. Everybody dreams, right? We all dream. How to translate that dream into reality, that goes through these two other steps, dare and do. Dare is harder than dreaming, but you can still do it. To be able to do, you need lots of skills, you need lots of support. Okay. Part of that is learning things, how to do something. That's what education gives you. But to get there, you have to have resources to get that education, right? Resources are in terms of teachers, labs, educational institutions, whatever, all of this put together. Now, any kid who has that kind of dream, it will be so sad and so disappointing that if they are not able to live that dream just because they did not have the means to do it, right? They did not have the required support. So all our founders of Plaksha has lots of founders. Plaksha has 130 plus founders today. It's a collective philanthropy university. All our founders had this singular dream that no kid in this country who is of that type, who can dream big, should stop dreaming just because they don't have resources. We will provide the resource for them to come and get the best education that their country can uh, possibly afford. Okay? Give that kind of education. And Bharati Foundation's scholarships are just part of that support system. So we have several scholarships, but Bharati scholars are a big part, a very special part of that entire system of support that we have. So when you said that, did we think of it right from the beginning? Yes, right from the beginning. That was one of the dreams of our founders, that no kid who is a dreamer should have to put a cap on their dream just because they don't have resources. We should be able to get them to realize their dreams.
Thank you, Professor. A lot of our students are sitting, I see, in computer labs. The ones that are sitting in the computer labs, raise their hand. Awesome. How many of you like computers? Raise both hands. Very nice. Awesome. And how many of you are learning how to program? Raise your hands. Sir, our students at Vidya come from backgrounds where ambition isn't always permitted to them, right? If you were sitting across one of those 15-year-olds today, like right next to them, sitting across them, who has many reasons to dream smaller, right? What would you say to them, Professor?
Never, never stop yourself from dreaming big. There are millions of stories in the world where a child did not have anything. You can read about such stories that they didn't have enough to eat, they didn't even have a light or lamp in the house to
Hmm.
study, and they studied under the street light, including Abraham Lincoln, you must have read about. So there are plenty of inspirational stories of this kind. I think in life, the most important thing is to dream, is to have that kind of ambition, to think big. Story begins from there. That starts driving you, that to get to this dream, what do I have to do? How do I get there? Sooner or later, if you have the right conviction and you are ready to put the effort required for it, you will get there. There is, people usually say that if you have सच्चे दिल से अगर सोचा है कि ये करना है, तो पूरी कायनात तुम्हारे पीछे आ जाती है साथ देने के लिए कि करो, you know but that conviction to do something, and something which is really good for everybody, not it's not कि अच्छा मुझे सबसे ज्यादा पैसा चाहिए. Okay, that's not the kind of dream. It's okay to have the dream to be rich, but not by just getting money through any means. That's not what the dream should be. Dream has to be pure. Dream has to be such that it attracts the kayanat, it attracts the entire cosmos to help you. And that happens when you have the right kind of dream and the right kind of conviction and the right kind of resolve to work on that dream. That's what you need. So I would say to every kid, don't stop yourself from dreaming big. Dream big, and then bit by bit take steps that if I want to do this, you want to be the greatest physicist or greatest scientist that ever lived in India or in the world, you want to beat Einstein, by all means, start thinking about it. You want to be a person like the next Bill Gates, who designed or who started a company that the whole world uses the products of, you can. If you want to be, Google founder, you can. There is nothing that will stop you from becoming any of this, right? It starts from that dream, first dreaming that I want to change this. I want to change something significantly in the lives of people around me and in the world. Start from there and bit by bit build on that dream.
Thank you, Professor. Let's do one more question, and then we will open up the stage for other questions from the audience. Professor, when you um, were at ISC and when you said yes to leaving ISC, where you were the deputy director, and ISC is India's most respected, one of the most respected research institutes. So, to start a new university from zero, was there a moment you doubted your decision, where you doubted your dare to do?
No, I did not even give myself a chance to doubt it. I was always looking forward. We all keep saying, uh, lots of people say that, hey, there is no Stanford in India, or why is there no MIT in India or Caltech in India, all those top institutions, right, in the world. But I was driven by just one dream, that this is the country that gave the first university to the whole world, Takshila University, in 800 BC, when Europeans didn't even know what higher education meant. They had no clue of higher education. Then we had a whole university, Takshila University. So, and the kind of scholars that Takshila University produced and the kind of professors who were there from all over the world is unbelievable even today. So, I was dreaming to build the 21st century version of Takshila. And when this opportunity came that, hey, there are so many founders who want to support this absolutely green field, clean slate, do whatever you want to do, reimagine what tech education should be like. I just started dreaming about it. That here is a chance, here is the chance, got to do it. This is our chance to do it, right? So then you do not, provide room for self-doubt and all that stuff. You don't do. And say, okay, let's go. चलो करते हैं, देखते हैं कहां तक पहुंचते हैं, right? Let's put our effort. So no, I did not for a second think that am I doing it right, or should I do it or not do it? All that you think beforehand, right? When before you take the decision. The moment this opportunity came, I had zero doubt. Okay, I said this is worth doing. This is worth taking all the risk, and that's how I took the decision.
Right. And after taking the decision to leave IISc and to start Plaksha, what were the things that you knew that you needed? And you know, what did you do about it?
So it's like in your head you are always imagining things. I'll tell you a small story about this. So when I came to Plaksha, right, in 2021, it was still COVID time, and I was sitting in the utility building on this campus, right, because there was only that building which was functional, and then the first building where you had your classes, right, where we had classes. That one room was operational, one lecture room was operational, and some offices on second floor. So, but that became operational in November. I was here in August, and I was sitting in this utility building, and it was all dug up outside. Everything was dug up. A gentleman from Pune arrived who knew me. He's a scientist himself. He has a company. He makes thin films. It's a really good company. Okay, so he came and he saw me. He had seen my Nano Center and my office in IISc, which is a completely different league, right? And that kind of Nano Center you wouldn't find anywhere in the world. Forget about India. You don't find that. So he had seen me there, and his face just dropped, and he said, Professor, what's wrong with you? What are you doing here? Look at you. I mean, you were sitting here, everything is dug up, and there you were in the most sophisticated lab that I have ever seen in my life, anywhere in the world. You were sitting there. You had a beautiful office. And I told him that Milind, his name was Milind. I said, Milind, when you are looking outside, you are seeing a dug up place. When I look outside, I see the 21st century version of Takshila here. And I see how many deep tech companies will come out of this university, around it, and it will change the face of Punjab and this country. That's what I see. So I'm not seeing what you are seeing. And that's why I'm sitting here. So it's this kind of dream, right, that keeps you going. in the first year, I remember after I interviewed you, I felt so good. Said, it is for Vishals of this world that I'll put this effort. I'll spend 23 hours of 24 hours of my life on this to build a university where thousands and thousands of Vishals will come in, graduate from here, and live a completely different dream. Our new generations should come and get the kind of education that inspires them to lead the world, not just, it's not about getting education to go and get a job. That's easy. That's just some skills you get, you will get a job. But I want leaders from here who think about humanity, who think about this planet, who think about the world, and who think that they can lead, get us in a different place. Right? That is the dream in my head that keeps me going.
Dream, dare, do. Let's open up the panel for audience questions.
I think there are some questions in the chat. Deepak Kamath says, what should we do if someone is dreaming something but thinking about how the society will think or react to it? Okay? It is a genuine question, right? Always comes up that what will somebody else say, when I'm thinking about this. There is a famous song, I think Kishore Kumar, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे लोगों का काम है कहना, right? So you don't have to worry about what people will say. Whenever you worry about such things, you limit yourself. Let people say what they will. You go ahead as long as it's a genuine dream. Again, I emphasize genuine, right? It's not about, your dream can't be that, oh, I want to drive a BMW car and this gentleman has it, can I steal it from him? That's not a dream, right? The dream is that, okay, I would actually like to own a BMW. I want myself to become worthy so that either somebody gives me or I'm easily able to buy a car like that. That's okay. That's a good dream. Now, people, if you start paying attention to people, there are a lot of people who will give you good advice. Those people are worth listening to. But there are people who will say all kinds of negative things. And I have gone through that. I've gone through that in my life, at Indian Institute of Science when we were trying to set up this center, this big center. I heard so much from everybody around me that no, you cannot do this. You will never be able to get the money that you need for this. Even if you get the money, you will never have expertise in India to build something like that. That we heard. Kept ignoring it. I'll give you an example, Deepak, something very interesting that will relate to this thing. Somebody said when we were building our center, and I think Professor Ashok Mishra is also in the audience somewhere. Okay. He was at IIT Bombay. He was the director at IIT Bombay, and we were doing it in partnership with IIT Bombay. He gave us so much of support, and he said that these two institutions must go together. So somebody told me that this kind of thing cannot be done in India. Okay? Somebody very credible at my institution in IISc said that this thing cannot be done in India. So I thought about it and I said that this is an easy problem to fix. From tomorrow morning, I'm going to think that I'm not in India. I'm not in India. Okay? Done? Problem solved. You think it can't be done in India? I'm thinking I'm not in India and I'll do it. So there are things that you can think. This is just one example I'm giving you, right? So people will say things. Don't waver from what you think you need to do, right? That's what is important.
Thank you, Professor. There's another question.
There are many scholarship students who are bright and secured good marks but have this inhibition of traveling to other places to do undergraduate. For example, in universities like Plaksha, can you please share some thoughts on the same? Traveling to institutions. You know, inhibition to go somewhere else is the first thing that you want to overcome. You see, just the act of going somewhere else from the environment you are in, that itself is education. When you go to a different environment, you learn so many things from the new environment. You're not familiar with it. Maybe the culture is different, maybe the way people talk, dress, interact is different. You learn from it. Even without getting admission there, you learn so much just by watching the environment. When I went to US, most of my learning was not in the classroom. The learning was from people around me, the society around me. I was so surprised to see how orderly things were, how organized things were. I saw why streets were so clean, right? How people were taking care of it, that nobody was throwing anything on the road. These were observations, and you learn immediately from it. How much effort is it to prevent yourself from throwing things on the road? No effort. Just put the thing, whatever it is, in your pocket and come home, and or till you find a garbage bin and put it there. How much effort is it? Very little. But it has such big impact on society, right? So from new environment, you learn lots of things. You should always be willing to go to a new environment. Go to no inhibition for that. You have to push yourself a little bit. Maybe you are shy. Maybe you think, oh my God, if I go there, these other people will be very different from me. Of course, they will be different, but that's the whole fun. That's where your learning will be, it will be exponential. It will multiply hugely, right? You learn a lot.
Vishal, any more questions from your side or from the audience?
Do we have more questions? Please, audience, anybody could raise their hands and ask questions. हमारे स्टूडेंट्स छात्रों में से किसी को अगर क्वेश्चन है तो पूछ सकते हैं. हाँ, Deepak Kamath has written the question. What should we do if someone is dreaming something but thinking about how the society will?
I already answered that.
Yes, you answered that
This has
question.
already been taken, Vishal.
Yeah.
You can ask,
Deepak,
would
if you
like
have other questions, could unmute and ask as well. I have tons of questions, Professor. In the meanwhile, let's talk about movies.
Sure.
So when I was in 12th grade, I had various different kinds of dreams, right? But mostly they all centered around and orbited around mathematics and physics. So at that time I was really confused, and I had with the suggestion of one of my mentors, I had gone to meet somebody, and he had suggested to me something. He said, he asked me, "What's your favorite movie?"
Hmm.
Right, and I didn't even think about it. I said Ravan, RA1, the movie. I mean, it took me about 4 years to understand why I mean, 4 years of B.Tech to understand why I liked that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Uh,
So that movie, I don't know if any of our students have watched it. Right? It's about um, a programmer who's written a game, and that the villain in the game gets alive. Right? So, Professor, what's your favorite movie?
oh boy. Um, Many movies actually. But you know, one of the movies I liked very much was two movies. Swadesh. Have you seen that movie, Swadesh?
Not yet.
Okay, I liked that movie. Um, Chak De India. I loved that movie. I tend to like sports movies quite a bit. 1983, Kapil Dev's
Hmm.
movie. That I loved that movie. These are my favorite movies.
Very nice. Any of the recent ones that you've seen and you liked, maybe from Hollywood?
Recent ones can't remember. So nowadays I don't get time to see movies. Um, the only time I see movies is when I'm in a long flight, and it's generally I'm seeing movies to sleep. I think I I the recent one I saw was Dhurandhar. I liked it, but it's not my most favorite movie. It just had too much of violence in it for my taste.
How many of the students have watched that movie? Raise their hands. किस किसने देखी है? बहुत लोगों ने देखी है. बाप रे, मैंने नहीं देखी. Very nice. Professor, we're about the near of the end of the session. So let us talk about one more question, and through that, let's also talk about the importance of places, like the one that Vidya is trying to build, which is Innovation Hub. So, your genuine advice about how could we go about achieving the things that we have dreamt about through the center. And for that, I have a question, which is, um, so Plaksha was founded with the idea of doing technical education differently, and that was your effort, that was your dream and goal. What were the things that you tried, that you wanted to do, that didn't quite go your way, and so that didn't work out, and what did you learn from it?
Okay, so unfortunately, there isn't anything which I can dismiss as it didn't work out. It's still work in progress. The things that I would have liked to do by now, set up uh, really new research centers. Those research centers that I've been dreaming of, they require a lot of resources, a lot of money. So we haven't been able to raise that much money yet. So it is still work in progress. But I don't have anything where I can write it off that, oh, I wanted to do this and I haven't been able to do that. That there is nothing of that kind. Uh, some things that we were able to do, which has pleased me really, really much, is our ability to dare and rewrite what foundational training for engineering should be. Our foundational courses in the first 3 semesters are different from any place in the world, any university in the world. We rewrote what foundational training will mean for 21st century. For us, machine learning and AI, as you know, is not something that you learn in advanced courses. It is foundational training. All of you went through this in your freshman curriculum in the first 3 semesters. And that's because I strongly believe that AI is the new calculus. It's as foundational as calculus is, and therefore all kids today must learn these topics, must understand how to deal with it, how to use it very effectively. So when we did that, it was a remarkable sort of departure from the past. And you had to be really gutsy to be able to say that, okay, all these universities, including IITs, they do this in their freshman curriculum. We are going to do something very different, right? Typically, in this country, whenever new universities come up and if they are in technical education, they try to copy IITs. I don't even copy MIT. We are capable of thinking on our own. We have that kind of thinking. We don't need to copy anybody. Is MIT copying you? They're not copying, right? So why do I need to copy them? I have had to think, I can think, and so are my colleagues. So it's just a question of having that confidence in yourself that yes, we can think afresh and we can put out something out there which is very, very contemporary and really, really good for our students. We should have that conviction. And then just for sanity, we run it through a few people in the world whom we respect, whom we know. We have on our academic advisory board, we have professors from Harvard, MIT, Berkeley, all those top places. These are top leaders. So we run it through them that, hey, this is what we are thinking. And they go, wow, this is great. Then you do it. So I think that has been really, really rewarding to me,
Very
think
valuable advice,
and
Professor.
being able to do it. Yes.
I'll hand it over to Principal Ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Pratap, for such an inspiring and thought-provoking conversation. Your journey reminds us that, passion, curiosity, perseverance, and the courage to take risks can open doors to extraordinary possibilities. I would also like to thank Vishal for leading this discussion so beautifully. As a Vidya alumnus, your journey is a matter of great pride for us, and we look forward to uh, you are an inspiration for our students. To our students, I hope today's session encourages you to dream bigger, ask more questions, and believe in your ability to shape your own future. Never let your circumstances limit, your aspirations. It should never be that way. On behalf of entire Vidya family, thank you, Dr. Pratap, for your time, wisdom, and encouragement. We are deeply grateful. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for the fourth edition of Dream Dare Do. We look forward to many more conversations that inspire our children and youth to dream, dare, and do.